Hello, welcome to my channel. I'm Jason White and this is Jason's Weird Reads, and today I am going to be discussing some, but not all, but some of my favorite horror book covers. This has come about because I've seen something like this going around booktube a little bit, and I've seen it on TikTok as well. So I thought, I have a lot of favorite book covers. I might do a part 2, but these are the ones that jumped to my mind first. Other than the classic ones, like there's classic ones by Stephen King, like the original Pet Sematary cover, that thing is awesome. And the original It cover, that as well. But we're not going to go into those too far right now. I just want to talk about these ones most, if not all. No, there's a couple of books that have been published by like publishing companies like Harper, Collins, and whatnot, but the majority of these are indie books. And this whole thing is going to be dominated by one artist and author, and you'll find out who that is very shortly. So let's get into this right away. First cover I want to show you is this thing I got for Christmas of 2022, and like, look at this thing, man. It's Blooding Night by Tim Curran. I always want to call it Blood Night, but it's Blooding Night. It's a werewolf book. Like, look at that. That is so beautiful, and I got it signed by both the author, Tim Curran, and the cover artist. You can see it right there. Tim Curran, and the cover artist is, of course, K.L. Turner. I should mention that. So, that is Blooding Night, and the back cover, too, which is also really extra special. I just absolutely love that. It's one of my favorite covers ever. I don't want to read this thing because it's not only is it signed by both the author and the artist, it's also numbered. I think there is only like 100. Yeah, it says right there, limited to 100 copies. And you're just afraid of like spilling coffee on it, or dropping it into like a vat of oil or something, because it would just magically appear, because you don't want that book touched in any harmful way. And next up is a book I've read recently, and that is The Har by David Sodergren. The artist for this is Trevor Henderson. I'm not too sure if Trevor does all the artwork for David Sodergren, but it's definitely like a similar style, but the whole design itself, the cover design, is I don't know if David Sodergren does that, or if maybe it's Trevor, but I really like how David Sodergren has his covers, because there's like a familiarity with it. Like when you see the cover, you don't have to see his name, and you kind of know it's a David Sodergren book. Like I said, I just read this book, and it's a surprisingly touching story, and I say surprisingly because it's also very gory and nasty in parts. I absolutely love this book. If you haven't read it yet, stay tuned, because I will cover it in a future video. I absolutely love it. It's a beautiful, beautiful story. Next up is another indie book. I found this guy on TikTok. He gives a lot of writing advice that technically breaks the rules of what a lot of people say are standard rules for writing. Sorry, my cat is like messing with my camera here. Anyways, so he gives a lot of advice for writers on how to do things, and a lot of it, like I just said, is breaking the rules. I'll just leave it at that. But a lot of his writing advice is very, very down to earth and logical, honestly. And his book, I just got it recently, The Dead Woods. I absolutely love this cover because it's beautiful. I kind of wish he went with a a matte cover, because it's glossy. It's really hard to show. It's Christian Francis is the author, and I can't say who the artist is, but I'm pretty sure it was Christian Francis who does this. If you're into coming-of-age stories, this might be a really good book for you to read. It's about 4 kids who go up against some sort of forest creatures, tree creatures, and there's something else going on in there as well. It's a fast, fun read, and I recommend it if that's something that sounds like it's up your tree. It's interesting. All right, next up I have A Lush and Seething Hell by John Horner Jacobs. And I just love this type of art, honestly. It's like all silhouettes, even the trees and the branches. It's silhouetted, and the color scheme is just beautiful. And the artist for this is Jeffrey Allen Love. And speaking of love, I love this. I haven't read this book yet. It's been on my shelf, my to be read shelf, for entirely too long. The cat strikes again. All right. So this has been on my to be read shelf for entirely too long. I should really just dig in. It's 2 novellas of cosmic horror, and I really, 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 really want to read this. Next up is A Cosmology of Monsters by Sean Hamill. I can't honestly say why I love this cover so much, but I bought this book mostly because, well, it was a cover buy for me. I never really heard too much about this book, but I saw the cover. I'm like, oh man, I gotta have that. I don't know if it's the cover, the color scheme, or the creature holding hands with what could be a woman or a child. I don't know. The illustration for the cover is by Na Kim. N-A is their first name, and Kim is their last name. But yeah, the color scheme and just that little picture there, it kind of feels like a David Sodergren book in a sense, with the square outlining. But the art in this it's just beautiful, and it really drew my eye. I absolutely adore it, especially like the back cover. Maybe it's the orange. Orange is one of my favorite colors, and it kind of really works well with this blue. It's just a really beautiful design. Like even the back, or the spine, I should say. All right. Lastly, there's like 6 books here I want to show you, showcasing one author and one artist who are the same person. Now, of course, I'm talking about Cameron Robique. He writes his own books, and he paints his own covers. He's a painter too. He's an artist, and both a writer artist and a painter artist. And this is his most recent book, Frankie Graves, which is part 1, and part 2 comes out soon. And when both these are out, you can put them together and it'll show the whole painting, which I really like. I haven't read this yet. Actually, all these books that I have by Cameron Robique himself, because Cameron Robique wrote this book, I haven't read yet because I'm slow to getting to things, but I'm hoping to rectify that soon. I might start with this one. I don't know, but I really love that cover. It's like at the drive-in. We have a drive-in nearby, and I love the drive-in. And there's these fireworks, and of course the greaser there, Mr. Killer. Just look at that skull. That skeleton makes an appearance in all of Cameron Robique's covers, as you're about to see. I'm not going to show all the covers because there's the Kill River books, and I have them, but they're a little bit higher up on the shelf, and I didn't feel like pulling them down. These are all on my TBR, and well, there's this one, Golf Curse. I keep meaning to read this in the spring because it's about a golf course. Cameron Robique himself worked at a golf course, and this takes place in the spring when they're, from my understanding anyway, where they're getting the golf course ready for the season. And I could still read it though. I could read it like now if I wanted to, of course. But there's that skeleton screaming, and this looks like a lot of fun. And Disco Death Trap. This is an awesome book. And there's the skeleton. Before you say, hey, there's no skeleton, there's only feet. But no, there's the skeleton there. But yeah, takes place at a roller rink on New Year's Eve, and of course something terrible happens. It's a slasher. I think Cameron Robique only wants to write slashers, and so this is another slasher. And I just love that title too, Disco Death Trap by Cameron Robique. He's a wonderful artist, man. If I can ever afford it or get into it, I want to hire him maybe That's assuming, of course, I ever put out another book. But yeah, I would love to have him as an artist. Now, I have appeared in some of his book covers. But first, I want to show you Autumn Crow by Cameron Chaney, our very own Cameron Chaney. This is one of my all-time favorite covers. Just the color scheme is so Halloween-y. And, of course, Mr. Skeleton is there. And he's wearing overalls, holding a very spooky-looking pumpkin. And this is a great collection of short stories. If you haven't read it yet, I highly recommend it. I love the back, too. Just the whole color scheme is absolutely beautiful. I mean, look at that, the detail in the little town that's behind there. That's just absolutely beautiful. And the moon, or maybe that's like a setting sun. I can't tell. I would say it's probably the setting sun, but it's absolutely beautiful. The tree behind, it's like all skeletal and autumnal. It's wonderful, wonderful cover. And now for the books that I've appeared in that have Cameron Robique's artwork on it. My short story in this is it's pretty bad when you can't remember the name of your own short story. Darkness Descends, and this is the first local haunts. There's Mr. Skeleton there holding a sign, the road sign that says local haunts. He's pointing the way there. And this is edited, of course, by Regina St. Clair, and it's a booktube anthology. All us booktubers got together under Regina's under her calling, and we put together a collection of short stories. And I like the little back here, this little TV with the with the cover, part of the cover art. That's just awesome. This was a lot of fun to write for, but also what was also a lot of fun is the most recent one that I'm in, and that's Lurking in the Dark. I really like this cover because it's very suggestive. Lurking in the Dark. There's the skeleton guy. He's got a mask and a costume on. Looks like a pretty nasty gorilla there. And it's another horror tube anthology. I had a lot of fun writing the story for this because well, it's a monster story, and this is the idea behind this collection of or anthology of short stories is monster stories, honestly. And my monster story, it came to me very quickly, and it was just a lot of fun. Now, one Cameron Robique cover that I don't have is Served Cold. I wasn't in that anthology because I just couldn't come up with the story in time. But that cover, I'll put it here, is absolutely beautiful. And if you haven't checked out Cameron Robique's his own work, you need to fix that. I would say start with Kill River maybe, but you can't go wrong with starting with Golf Curse or Disco Death Trap. I always mean one reason why I haven't finished or read Disco Death Trap is because I want to read it at around Christmas and New Year's time, because it takes place on New Year's Eve, and that time is always just so busy. I just have trouble getting to it, but I have read a little bit of it, and the first little bit is really awesome. You got to check this book out. And Frankie Graves, I'm hoping to read this summer, along with maybe even Golf Curse. So there it is. There's some of my favorite covers, and me gushing over Cameron Robique a little bit, but he's a fantastic artist, and so are all the other artists. And I just want to show this one off again real quick because it's absolutely beautiful. I mean, Blooding Night, that werewolf in the back with those werewolves. Well, one werewolf has been skinned alive, I guess. I don't know if it was skinned alive, but it's certainly been skinned. And there's some more back there. It's like, what the hell's going on in this picture? Alright, that's it. Thank you for watching. Keep being safe and keep being creative. And I'll catch you guys in the next bookish video.